I went outside and sat on the porch smoking my cigar and looking into the night sky. Seeing the stars that lit up the night sky and the full moon that lit up the earth, so much so that you could almost see anything, but also strangely, nothing at all. I considered it peaceful, for a moment, at least, until I started hearing it. Hearing that distant cracking of branches together slowly coming up the hill towards where I sat. And it sent a wave of fear down my spine, but I reasoned with myself, seeing how it must have been the wind blowing through the trees as it does. But was left a little more confused as I realized that there had been no wind blowing that night. In fact, it was a rather bit odd how quiet it did seem that night. I tried to brush off my fears and continue to look at the stars, but my mind could not quiet down the fear that led me to wonder whether or not something was in the woods watching me. And I heard the movement creep closer through the trees, until at once I could no longer bear it and I got up to investigate. I went to the edge of the woods where the weeds began to grow wilder, and I stared into the darkness of the woods. "What's in there?" I beckoned and waited a moment for some answer. "Is there something in there?" I asked again, saying, "Reveal yourself." And at that very moment, a growl came from behind me, sending a shock up my spine and into my scalp. I was frozen. I wondered, what could it be? A bear? A ghost? Some monstrous troll? My heart held its beating as I began to turn around, slowly. And what I saw in that instant, I must confess, surprised me. I saw an old man? I asked myself. An elderly man was standing not afar off behind me. It wasn't a growl that I heard, but a groan. The aches and pains of a life well lived, I supposed. "Are you all right?" I asked. Nothing. He said nothing back. So I crept close and I asked again, "Are you okay? Are you?" He asked me in a slow and deep guttural manner. Yeah, I'm good, but you're in my yard." "Nope." "Yeah, you are, man. This is literally my yard." He crept closer where the moonlight shined on his face a little, and I seemed to recognize him a bit. I paused. I was going to ask him if I knew him, but before I could, I realized who he was. He was me. But also not me. He was me, but older. Me as an old man. "How?" I asked. "You've always asked so many questions," he replied. No, but I mean, how are you here?" He then proceeded to explain in this poem. "I've lived my life. I lived my years. I died peacefully, and I ended up here. The Oakwood, the place where I saw magic and peace and grace. Where I saw my children as they grew older, and I saw the love in their children's face. Oh, bitterness consumed me, and I tried and I fought to live for the present. I bought and I sought to find the perfect story, the perfect song that could be written and sung, that could be my legacy. That could replace, that could deface the wretched person I thought I was. I didn't hate myself, but I thought that me for me could never be enough. I was scared. So here I am as a ghost in this place, with my unfinished story, unable to move forward to whatever may be next." "What is unfinished?" I asked him. "You forget the past, you tolerate the present, and you romanticize the future, always saying one day, even though that one day never comes." "What am I to do? What am I to be?" "You always have your questions." "Yes, because I don't know who I'm supposed to be. What am I supposed to do?" He replied, "You feel as though you aren't enough, that you can't presently be enough, so you must become someone different. You question with so many questions like, 'Who am I?' But questions such as these are only the remnants of an influence from a world who constantly would have you to feel as though you aren't enough. If the world can convince you that you're not enough, and you're not who you are supposed to be, then they can sell you the newest and latest trend or whatever it may be so that you can become who it is that you're meant to be." I said to my older self, so the question should be, who am I? Or it shouldn't be who am I, but rather, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? He replied, no. Well, I agree it shouldn't be who am I. What I mean to say is that all these questions that you seem to always have, you should stop asking. It should be that you ask no questions at all. It should be that you just be. Instead of always having to ask who it is that you are and who you're meant to be. A deer doesn't ask who it is or what its aspirations should be. It just is what it is, and its aspirations exist without question. And with that, I finally started to realize. I realized that I thought so much about my legacy, getting into the end of my life, death, all of these things, that so much that I forgot to live. I forgot to just be, for the simple sake of being. We both then sat down in the grass together, side by side, looking at the moon, when he said to me, sometimes the end of one's journey is the ever-growing realization of all the little privileges, all the little opportunities, and all the love you had when you began. And with that, I looked at where he had been, and he was gone.